Lukman in the corner, with his head like a dried cola nut. With his head like a... One last thing. If Lukman doesn't move out of this house, I will cut off his penis and use it for money ritual. Then you will smile. See, this book, if you are below, if you are not an adult yet, like an official adult, don't read it. Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting a brand new book. This is titled Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. And before we start, let's take a minute to appreciate this book. Let's appreciate the cover design. Kudos to the graphic designer, kudos to the person or the persons who came up with this idea. It's just so attractive. And you know, if you're in a bookshop or you browsing for books online to buy, and you just scroll past this, you go back to it because you just want to see it. You just want to see what it's about. Even if this is not the book you want to buy, you must surely like turn your head. Like it's a head turner. This book is, the cover is a head turner. Okay, it's written by Damilare Kuku and it consists of different stories. And okay, it's not in chapters, just like oh my god, it's not clear. Just like The Girl Who Can is not written in chapters, just different stories. And this consists of 12 stories. When was it published? Yeah, published in 2021 by Masobe Books, by Masobe. To Oluremi Abake and you who has dealt with a madman, I salute you. Basically, I think the stories, just from the title, you know, okay, the stories are from the perspective of women. So women telling their stories, encounter with madmen in Lagos. I can't wait to start. Let's jump into this. Let's dive into it. All right, the first story is titled Cock Up, and it's on page 9. Are you with your book? If you're not with your book, why? In my last video, the last read aloud video I told you guys I would be reading this book. Like the next book we'll be reading is Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. So I guess you all have your books now, but if you're yet to get this novel, just listen and enjoy, but don't forget to get the book. Let's start. Like I said, it's on page 9. Cock Up. One night, you will calmly put a knife to your husband's penis and promise to cut it off. It will scare him so much that the next day, he will call his family members for a meeting in the house. He will not call your family members, but you will not care. You won't need them. Your husband's family will crowd the new apartment, a bedroom and a parlor, called self-contained by Lagos agents you got 3 months ago. It will feel like they surround you. They will exclaim, sigh, frown, click their tongues, gnash their teeth, and repeat 1,000,000 times that you committed an abomination. His pot-bellied uncle, Buraimo, who always lives at your bosom, will point at you and say, Shebi, I told him not to marry you. I said marry someone from your tribe. Igbo women are dangerous. He will say this while ogling your bosom. Well, I blame him for not handling you properly, because if it was me who was handling you, He will beat his chest in anguish at this point. If it was me, you wouldn't have tried this nonsense. His eldest sister, Azizat, will pretend to appeal to your shared womanhood. Issy, as a woman myself, I know men can be difficult, but what you have done is terrible. No woman has done this thing in our family. In fact, it is a disgrace to womanhood to want to cut your husband's member. Haba, if you cut Lukumon's member, how will you people have another child? You know we expect your next child to be a boy. You will be so amused that she calls it member. It will make you smile. They will misinterpret your smile. You are smiling at your evil, Abi. You are not well. You hear me? You are mad. Lati, his immediate elder sister, with the tiny voice, will jump and bark at you before someone will tell her to calm down. You will stay silent as you planned, till your husband's older cousin, Mufu, the thief, will make you talk. Mufu, please bring out Lukuman's watch from your pocket and put it back on the side stool. You will say quietly, but with clear meanings. Everyone will turn to Mufu. Their embarrassed faces will confirm they know he's a thief. But because he's one of theirs, Uncle Baremo will try to save his face. Mufu, I know you were just admiring Lukumon's watch, but Sha, put it back before she cuts your manhood. They will all titter nervously, forcefully, while Mufu will pull the watch from his pocket and place it on the side stool. He will glare at you, you will glare back and hope he gets the message that you no longer stand for him, brazenly pilfering things anytime he visited, partly because Lukumon was scared to call him out. You will remember when you were younger, when every man wanted you, but you fell for Lukumon's natural charm. Remember how he used to come knocking on your parents' door, leaving you sweets and sweeter notes. You will wonder if your life would have been better if you had chosen the soldier with tribal marks from the barracks in Ebeda. The soldier loved you, but you'd chosen Lukumon, the beautiful man boy who made you laugh and overfilled your heart when he said he loved you. You chose Lukumon because of his words. He wrote love letters, recited delicious poetry, whispered magic in your ears, and sang as you danced till you believed the lyrics of all the world's love songs were written just for you. God forbid you marry a teacher. You must do better than us, your father had said, but you were so possessed by love. You threatened your parents to elope, to get pregnant, to kill yourself. It was your first and only rebellion, and they were so confused by it, they let you have your way. Issy, why did you threaten to kill my son? Lukman's mother's voice is soft, and her face impassive, as always. But you remember she never liked or accepted you. She was just indifferent, and sometimes it rankled more because you would have preferred her to hate you. You will never say it, but you blame her and her 5 elder sisters for over-pampering Lukman. Yes, he was the last child and only boy, but their calling contributed to making him lazy, entitled, and impotent in any adversity. Before you answer, Kitan, your 6-year-old daughter will wake up from her nap in the bedroom, come to the parlor, be scared of the crowd, spy you, and dash to your open arms. You will hug her, carry her, sniff her neck, and enjoy her dusting powder scent. She will hug you tightly as if she knows you are under fire and she wants to shield you. She will hold you till your heart warms, till you say a silent prayer for wisdom, for peace, for Kitan, that her life will be soft and she'll never leave you. You love her too much. It was all for Kitan. You remember your husband, when he was pressuring you and trying to convince you, had said, do this for Kitan. You will look at him and your anger will rise red again. But Kitten will rub your face with her cute fingers and calm your soul so you can tell your story. You used to sell roasted corn at the junction of Unilag. When corn was out of season, you sold barley and sauce. Your business was fairly successful because your location was strategic and there was a lot of foot traffic. Also because you were punctilious with your business in sourcing the freshest corn and plantains, in selecting the best charcoal for roasting, in preparing the sauce with famous barley sauce recipe from Port Harcourt, and in serving with neat newspapers and takeaway packs. You had many loyal customers. Lukman said it also helped that you are friendly and you look like Naomi Campbell. People usually said the Naomi Campbell thing, but you've never seen it, and frankly, it irritated you because you don't have Naomi Campbell money. Selling roasted corn or barley was never the plan. You always thought you and Lukman would make something of yourselves, but he lost his job a year after your marriage, and you had to leave your job as a secretary when you got pregnant. The aftermath of Kitten's birth was tough as you were both jobless and your meager savings ran out. In those days, Lukman sent you to ask Uncle Buraimo for money for food, and to get it, you endured the man bear hugging you in greeting so he could crush your boobs against his chest. Eventually, you refused to go. It caused the first fight in your marriage, during which you flippantly said you'd rather sell roasted corn by the roadside than collect money from Uncle Buraimo. Then weeks later, on a night after the landlord had made a scene because of overdue rent, a cousin Lukman reminded you of your words. It's just to bring a daily income while I'm job hunting, he said. Mufu has talked to his oga at work about me. Hopefully in another month or so, they will give me a job. Just be patient, Ifemi. That was over 6 years ago, but Lukman still hadn't found a job. You'd sold corn or barley during that time and you didn't mind. It was honest work and provided for your family's basic needs. On average, you made about 5,000 naira daily, enough for food and rent for your family's one-bedroom face me I face you apartment, enough to pay for your contraceptive pills because you both agreed not to have another child until you were financially stable. The only thing you paid a premium for was Kitten's education. You'd insisted that she attended one of the best private schools in Yaba. Lukman had argued that you were wasting money because Kitten could thrive in a public school and turn out well, just like he did. But you'd quietly said, my child would never go to a public school in Nigeria as long as I'm alive, and he'll look at your face and never spoke of the matter again. You met Ehi on a rainy Thursday in June when he pulled up in his SUV to buy corn. He rolled the window down. Madam, good afternoon. How much? You greeted him like you did everyone else. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for stopping. It's 200 naira for one. Okay, give me 5 and 6 pears. Hope they are soft. Yes, sir. You nodded, wrapped up his food, stood and handed it to him through the window. He gave you five 100 naira notes. Sir, your bill is only 200 naira. I know, keep the change. I like that you are very polite. Thank you, sir. He returned 2 days later. This time, Kitten was with you, as usual, every day after you picked her from school. He packed and got down. You studied him for the first time. He could have passed for average. His features, height, and build were average, but his clothes were tailored kaftan and designer slippers, and an air of brisk determination stood him out. Madam, your corn was so nice. I came all the way from Surulere to buy again. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for coming. "Good afternoon, sir," Kitan said. As a rule, your daughter greeted all your customers. He beamed at her. "Good afternoon. What's your name?" "Ola Oluwa Kitan," she answered. "Nice name. What does it mean?" "God's wealth never ceases," you said. He studied both of you for a moment. "Your daughter looks exactly like you." "Thank you. You speak so well. What school did you attend?" There was a directness about him. "Yabatek." "That's nice. And how is business?" "We thank God. We are pushing it." You were thankful he didn't ask how you ended up selling roasted corn by the roadside. "Good. Oh yeah, let me have the same order." You added 2 extra cups and 5 extra pears to his food. "Here, sir." He collected it and gave you a wad of notes. It was 15,000 naira. "Sir, please, I can't accept it." He struggled. "I won't take it back later." Then he smiled. "But I suggest you take it and buy something for Ola Oluwa Kitan. It's easier to call her Kitan." You smiled and thanked him as you took the money. It was enough for you to take the next 3 days off, but you didn't because you only rested on Sundays. But you did as he suggested and bought 5 dresses for Kitan, 2 new ones for church and outings, and 3 second-hand casuals for stay at home. She'd been wearing the same clothes for some years, and for the first time, impulsively, you bought her new clothes in her size. And when Lukman, who you'd told about Ehi's generosity, asked why you didn't buy her new clothes 2 to 3 sizes bigger as you'd both always done, you said you forgot. As he frowned, you wondered why you couldn't explain to him that for once you wanted to see your daughter in new clothes her size, rather than her growing into them when they were faded. Ehi came to buy corn every week and always paid far more than what he bought, especially when Kitan was with you. For a child who was usually wary of strangers, Kitan surprisingly had a lot of time for him, and it was because of the little things he did. Always fist bumping her, making funny faces with her, listening as she prattled about school and Lola, her best friend. You nearly cried the day he gave you $200 for Kitan. You thanked him and prayed for him, and you noticed he was uncomfortable. He never stayed for more than 20 minutes, but you later realized that time was an escape for both of you. Over time, you developed a warm understanding companionship of sorts. He didn't speak much about himself, but you got to know some basics. He ran an international freight company. Ehioze was his full name. He was in the middle of a bitter divorce, and his 2 children lived with his soon-to-be ex-wife in London. Over time, you told him about yourself. First daughter of 3 of an ex-soldier and a military nurse, married to your first love, now mother of 1. You didn't tell him about Lukman's unsuccessful job search till the day he asked what Lukman did for a living. When you also told him, without prompting, that Kitan was always with you after school because Lukman couldn't care for her while job hunting, you realized it was untrue. Lukman hadn't actively searched for a job in months and spent his days idling at home. After you finished speaking, Ehi said, if he doesn't mind, he can send me his CV through you and I'll see what I can do. Let me know what he decides. Oh, thank you, sir. Please stop that. Call me Ehi. At home, you told Lukman about your conversation with Ehi and asked for a copy of his CV. You were disappointed he didn't seem enthused. Okay, he said absent-mindedly. When will I get it? Isi, you can see that I'm about to get on a queue to use the toilet. I need to get there before Ngozi messes up the place with her smelly shit. After that, I'll queue to take a bath. I hope I don't go in after that useless Aloud who uses 2 hours to bath. Okay, my husband, give it to me when you finish. I've heard. When 2 weeks passed and he hadn't given you the CV, you wrote one out for him, went to a business center to get it typed and printed, and gave it to Ehi. You didn't mind doing such things for Lukman because generally he was a good man to you, just a bit lazy. When you gave Ehi the CV, he studied it carefully. I think I can fit your husband in somewhere in my company. Then he looked intently at you. What about you, Isioma? What about me? How? Do you want a job? Not really, because it won't give me time to take care of Kitan. I want to take her to school and pick her up every day. So you are going to do this business forever? God forbid. You looked away. Then because you've grown too comfortable with him, you shared a plan you hadn't even told Lukman. If I save enough money, I hope to open a grocery store to sell food items. There isn't one in my neighborhood, so I should have an advantage. I can get good produce from suppliers I know in Maltu market. Plus, I'll be closer to home and Kitan. You struggled and sighed, but it's just a dream for now. How much does your dream cost? You took a long pause before you answered. I did a costing last month, rent, furniture, and first stock came up to almost 800,000 naira. His face was impassive when he said, Isioma, you're a beautiful woman. I want to help you, but I'm also human and selfish. So here is my offer. I will give your husband a job in my company, and I will give you 2 million naira. All I want in return is you spend this weekend alone with me in Osogbo. I'm going there for some business. Yes, this is a proposition. If you agree, you don't have to see me again after the weekend. If you don't want to, if you reject my offer, I'll understand, but I suggest you think about it first. How dare this man insult you, sir? Your tone was cold. Please don't buy anything from me again. I'm a married woman. My husband is man enough for me, and I'll never cheat on him. You've insulted both of us, and it's an offer, not an insult. He deadpanned. Then his voice softened. You have my number, Isioma. Think about it. As he drove up, you felt a tear run down your cheek. You went home early. You were still fuming when you told Lukman about Ehi's proposition. You expected his rage to match yours, thunder to your lightning, but he stayed silent for a long moment. Finally he asked, Isn't that the man who gave Kitan $200? Yes, foolish rich man. Yes. Lukman stood, grabbed a rumpled t-shirt from the clothes hanger, and pulled it over his head. It was the sign he was going out to play draughts with some of the men in the neighborhood. He paused by the door. You are my woman. You will always be my woman, no matter what. You understand? Yes, you said, even though you were puzzled. Why do you want to kill my son? Lukman's mother will repeat her question and return you to reality. You still won't answer. You will stroke Kitan's rough but soft hair and make a note to loosen it and weave fresh cornrows later. You will whisper in Kitan's ear, tell her to go play outside but not leave the compound. You will promise her sweets when she returns. Everyone will sense that you won't speak while Kitan is in the room, so they will stay silent with bated breath as she leaves reluctantly. Lukman's shrew sister will be the first to speak. Oya, answer mommy's question. We are waiting. You will make them wait. On that Friday, your first night in Osogbo, Ehi made you wait. Earlier in the day, he had taken you with him on his business, viewing tobacco farms he was considering he was considering buying at the outskirts of the city. He asked you to sit with him through meetings with landowners and farmers, introduced you as his associate, asked for your opinion, and asked you to take over the last meeting. When you returned to the city, he took you shopping, then to a late lunch. In the hotel suite, there was an awkward silence as he sat on a couch and watched you pet uneasily at the edge of the bed. He asked if you wanted anything. You said no. He ordered a bottle of red wine and sipped alone. Then he asked for your account number. Ashamed, you replied that you didn't have a bank account. After you left your job as a secretary, you let your account go dormant and couldn't even remember the number now. He asked if you had any ID. You said you had a voter's card and a national ID. He called his account officer and told her he was going to send you with a check on Monday and she should help you open an account. Then he wrote and handed you a check 2,800,000 naira for your dream and then some, he said softly. Though you were conflicted by it all and the extra money, you managed to retort, "For my soul, you mean? I know this is hard for you, Isioma. In another word, I believe we would be perfect for each other, but we are in this world and the best we can get is this glimpse of what we could have been. I thought this was an offer, a transaction like the ones you do every day." He sighed. "One of my many flaws is I negotiate for everything in this life, even for things that money can't buy. If I told you I think you are amazing and I'm crazy about you and I want you in my life, Kitan too, you would have said no, right?" Surprised, you nodded. "That's why I negotiated for your crumbs." You never understood why those words toppled your walls, eased your mind, so it felt natural when you both lay on the bed and talked, and he held your face and called you beautiful, when you kissed and tasted the wine on his soft lips, and it all went to your head. A part of you was disappointed you only cuddled till you slept that night, but you understood he didn't want to rush you. You woke the next morning alone in the suite. You went to the bathroom, washed your face and brushed your teeth. He came in, smiling and sweating in sportswear. He'd gone for a run. He took off his clothes and stepped into the walk-in shower. You smiled as you heard his off-key singing above the swish of the shower. He stopped singing when you slipped into the shower beside him naked. Silent apart from the kisses and moans, you washed and massaged each other first. You were both burning under the cold spray by the time you were through. Then he pinned you against the wall and you lifted a leg to welcome him as he slid into you. For the first moment, he stayed still while you felt and stared at each other. He started to move slowly, but with the pokey space and slippery floor. It got awkward quickly. You halted out and bounced on the bed still wet, water and body fluids. He lay on you while you wrapped your legs around him. He was amazingly different from Lukman, savvier, kinkier, unselfish. With your nipple in his mouth, his right hand gripping your left buttocks, his left thumb caressing your clitoris as he settled into a trusting rhythm. Your raking orgasm was a pleasant surprise as you pulled his hand from your clitoris because it was too intense. You realized that you both forgot to use a condom. Though you were on regular contraceptives, you preferred not to take any more chances. So you pushed him gently off you till his back was on the bed. You knelt between his legs, pushed them apart, cupped his balls, slopped his penis till he burst in your mouth and hand. Later, as you lay on his chest, you were fascinated by how fast his heart was beating. It was still beating fast on your last night together. Stay with me, he whispered. You stopped your light drumming on his chest. I mean, when we get back to Lagos, come and be with me, you and Kitan. I know my personal life is a mess and your marriage is complicated, but I also know we'll be good together. You don't speak for a long time. Then you exhale heavily. You are negotiating again. He chuckled. I know. I don't know how to stop. I don't want you to stop. Finally, you will answer your mother-in-law. Ask Lukman, you will say. Lukman in the corner, with his head like a dried kola nut. With his head like a... With his head like a dried kola nut, will be startled to hear his name. He will reach for his watch which Mufu had returned, and your eyes will meet. You will both remember that you bought the watch, an original Tissot, and the only luxury purchase from your windfall for him because he always wanted one. You will wonder if in the circumstances his pride will let him continue wearing it. He will look away from you as he straps it around his wrist. What should I ask Lukman? Ask your son why he made me sleep with another man for money, you will say quietly. Your words will suck out all the air from the room because nobody will breathe. Their eyebrows will raise, eyes widen, jaws go slack. Uncle Buraimo will put both hands on his head and throw both feet up. Ah, ah, ah. When I say he made me, I mean for 3 days. He quarreled with me, refused to eat my food, didn't touch me, and even begged me to do it to secure our daughter's future. He's here. Ask him why. Lukman will stare at the ground, refusing to look at you. Lukman, please tell your family why you made me sleep with another man for money, but treated me like a leper when I returned. Explain why you refused to take the job the man offered you, but you insisted that I took the money, rent this house, and buy you that stupid watch. Tell them why you have refused to touch me, but you are sleeping with every girl in the neighborhood. Why did you say yesterday that you don't think Kitan is your child? You will take a deep breath and look at your mother-in-law dead in the eye. One last thing, if Lukman doesn't move out of this house, I will cut off his penis and use it for money ritual. Then you will smile. Oh my god, this is crazy. A very good read, guys. A very good read. If you don't have this book yet, just run to any bookstore and get one, or you can order for one on Spine and Label. Is a book website, and they also have physical shops in Lagos and Abuja. I got this online from their Abuja branch. So we're done with the first story titled Cock Up, and it's so interesting. See, this book, if you are not an adult yet, like an official adult, don't read it. If you are below 18, please don't read it. So many raw things in here. I can't wait to read the next chapter. Okay, I have got work to do, so I'll be reading the next story tomorrow. The next story is titled The Gigolo from Isalaeko. Woo! I feel this is also going to be another great, amazing, raw sport read. Okay, hope you enjoyed this first one, and let me know what you think about it down in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the notification button so you can get updated whenever I post videos, be it vlogs or a reading video. And also don't forget to share my videos with anyone you know or people you know love to read book, love to listen to others read. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will see you in my next video. Bye. The Gigolo from Isale Eko, 7:26 p.m. I can see this is your first time at a bachelor party for Iggy. How do I know? I organized the two previous ones and I didn't see you there. Yes, this is the third bachelor party I've thrown for Iggy. And knowing him, I suspect I will throw at least 3 more for him before we grow old and die. Even worse, I fear my hell in the afterlife will be to throw bachelor parties for him every day for eternity. Be ready, Sha, because I'll invite you for all of them. How do you know Iggy? You don't? A friend dragged you here? That's great. I'm happy you are here, and I think you are meant to be here because in my experience, there are only a few random events in life. How do I know Iggy? Ha! Iggy's like my brother, but no, that doesn't make me the best person to answer your question of why he keeps getting married. But if I was to guess, I would say maybe he's looking for something he'll never find. Me, I don't know what it is, Sha. My own is just to organize the bachelor parties and turn up big time at the weddings. Why? Because he's my day one guy and because it's what I do for a living. I organize music festivals and events and I own a lounge that turns into a nightclub at weekends. The party never stops for me. So I will throw a dozen bachelor parties for Iggy if he wants. But I swear, the biggest and best bachelor party I will throw will be for Seni. Who is Seni? You see that tall guy talking with Iggy? Ah, I'm glad you described him as handsome. You have good eyes. Yes, that's Seni. He's my guy and like my brother too. What's that? Seni has an aura of sadness around him. I see you are perceptive. Why haven't I thrown a party for Seni? Because he's single. Yes, I mean single. Never been married single. Hard to believe for such a correct guy, right? No, nothing is wrong with him. In fact, he's the best one of us. A gem of a man. Any woman would be lucky to have him. So why isn't Seni married? It's a long story, Sha, and truth be told, a part of it is Iggy's fault. What happened? Should I be telling you all this? You have a trustworthy face, and I'm a bit drunk, but still, okay, stop begging. To tell that story, our story, we'll need a full night and plenty of alcohol. Luckily, we have boats. It's an open bar, so grab yourself a drink. Enjoy the party a little. I need to go check on the chefs and the kitchen. I'll be back. 9:34 p.m. I am so sorry I didn't hear you. Oh, you heard Iggy is marrying Pamela tomorrow for our money? Yes, I've heard that before. And frankly, I can understand why people will say that. Yes, she's wealthy. Rumors say she's worth 30 million euros, inherited from her late husband, who was a mogul in mining business. And there's the obvious, almost 20 years age gap. Yes, I believe she's 60, but Iggy insists he's not marrying her for money. He swears he loves her. Look, I've seen how he dotes on her. Do I think he's acting? If he is, he's fantastic at it. And he's probably done it for so long that the lines have blurred. Anyway, like I said, there are only a few random events in life. Understand that Iggy has always been charming, even from childhood. We met in Isaleku, Dosumu Street to be exact. I know when people hear Isaleku, they think about 3 things depending on who they are. They think crime, Awori people, and slums. These things are all true. Isale Eko is an ancestral home of Lagos, and yes, it is now cluttered with poor housing and the streets are riddled with crime, but that's not what we are about. When you are truly from Isaleku, you care about family, community. I'm not talking about the mommy, daddy, two kids type of family. I mean ragtag, non-blood related bound by loyalty type of family. Anyway, we met when we were both 8. His mother, Mama Perpetua, used to cook for my family during the festive seasons, and we all attended the same church, St. Joseph's. I remember seeing Iggy a couple of times, but we didn't speak till one day when his mother brought him to our house, and while she cooked, he wandered off without her knowledge and explored our house like he owned the place. I remember this because he walked boldly into my room and asked me who I was and what I was doing. I was playing Ludo alone. I played by myself a lot because I was an only child, and I was shy back then. Anyway, without invitation, Iggy sat on my bed, picked the dice, shook them and said, "My name is Iggy, let's be friends." And that was it. We became best friends and brothers. I say brothers because we became so inseparable. When I threatened to drop out of private school to join Iggy in public school, my mom offered to move him to my school. Eventually, my parents moved his family of 3 to our boys' quarters, but he was never there because we shared my room. Through the years, we shared everything else including clothes, though he coordinated outfits better and carried himself with a certain style that always stood him out. We also started chasing girls together, and again, he was also a lot better at it than me. I remember when we were about 18, we used to sneak to eat at the legendary Iya Lati Buka in Tinubu Square. Men came for the delicious food and to argue the girls, while women came to side-eye the girls who were taking their husbands but couldn't resist the food. Many men lusted after Iya Lati's girls, but they all had crushes on Iggy. Usually, they were notoriously rude, but they smiled and fell over themselves to serve Iggy whenever he came. And his food got larger, even though we all paid the same amount. Then one of the girls started delivering food to Iggy at home. When I asked him about it, he just smiled. Bro, na grace. I didn't understand what he meant until about a week later, when a big catfish, complete with flying pants, scratched faces, and torn clothes, broke out among Iya Lati's girls. It turned out that one of the girls, who considered herself exclusive with Iggy, had found out he was sleeping with 3 others. Her name was Grace. The first time Iggy got married was 3 years after NYSC. That was young, right? But by then, he was already a big boy compared to most guys our age. Although he was a pure Isaleku boy, by the state of origin rules, he wasn't considered a Lagosian for NYSC posting. He used this to his advantage to work his posting to Lagos. I was posted to Enugu. During that 1 year of NYSC, he worked at a family-run logistics company, which surprisingly rented a furnished 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki for him. He was still working there when I returned to Lagos after the NYSC, and as bros, he asked that I move in with him. I did, and quickly discovered that he'd gotten all these perks at work because he was dating Folakemi, the Oga's daughter, who ran the company. They had a nasty breakup when Iggy switched jobs 6 months after NYC and joined a fintech in VI. No, it wasn't simply because of the new job. He was headhunted by a senior madam in the fintech, and yes, you guessed right, he and his new madam had something, and Folakemi found out, or more, because she'd just renewed the rent for a year. Folakemi wanted to evict Iggy from the apartment. What saved him was the receipt and tenancy agreement were in his name. Also, the apartment was in a gated estate, so he told the security men to stop letting her in. Those were crazy and wild days for Iggy and us. I can't remember which lady bought him a Blackberry. Those were Blackberry days. His work madam got him a Toyota RAV4, codedly of course. Another woman took him on a vacation to Mauritius. Some girl redecorated the apartment and others kept sending food to us. Omo, me and Seni were amazed by Iggy's moves. Seni, oh, he and Iggy started working at the fintech at about the same time and bonded when they discovered they were fellow Isaleco boys. Eventually, Seni moved out of his parents' house and into the apartment with us. He and I shared a room. Iggy stayed in the other. Understand that this was about 2 years post NYSC, and there we were, still boys at heart, not quite men, living the dream lives of young Lagos bachelors with the girls, apartments in Lekki, clubbing and bar hopping on weekends. We developed some system. I identified the fun places to visit and the parties to attend. Iggy came with his car, some money, and his pool of women, and Seni, the calm and sensible one, kept an eye on us, protected us from thieving women and bar bros when we got drunk, drove us home and carried us to our beds. Anyway, Iggy's first marriage, right? So we are chilling at home one weekend when Iggy comes and drops the bombshell that he's getting married. We asked, dude, aren't you too young? Man said no. Okay, we asked, which of your women? Man said Odunola. We said who? We don't know this girl. Long story short, we got to meet her. Unlike the women Iggy liked to roll with at the time, she wasn't much of a looker. She was quiet, had no airs, preferred to blend into the background, but looked up to Iggy like he was God. We tried to figure out his angle, but he didn't say anything. He took her to meet my mom. We stood in for his mother, who'd passed on in his last year at uni. Even my mom wondered if he wasn't rushing things, but he said he knew what he was doing. I threw Iggy's first bachelor party, and I'll never forget it, not because it was a great party, but because it gave me direction. I mean, there was a moment in the middle of it. I stood in a corner watching everybody dancing and having a good time, and boom, I had an epiphany. I could start a business for partying and events, and that's what I did, but that's another story. Anyway, back to Iggy. So they had a quiet wedding next day. Her parents gifted them a duplex in Parkview, where they moved into. 6 months later, they moved to the US together, and he gifted me the RAV4. He was there for 5 years, and though we kept in touch, it wasn't quite the same. Anyway, after 5 years, Iggy came back alone. Divorced, Seni and I asked, dude, what happened? Man said nothing, they just drifted apart. What's that, you ask? His angle for marrying Odunola? Well, he came back with an American passport, sha. If that's what you are hinting at, turns out she was an American citizen. Anyway, like I said, there aren't many random events in life. 10:45 p.m. Iggy's second marriage. Sure, I'll get to that. First, we put the band back together like the Blues Brothers, Iggy, Seni, and I. Some things stayed the same. Iggy and Seni started working together again, this time in their own fintech company, which they co-founded. Their company developed payment processing platforms and solutions. Seni did the core tech and operation work. Iggy ran the marketing and business side. Their clients were mainly companies, and while they had some success and steady growth, I remember Iggy used to say they needed one big contract from the government to make a killing. And some things were different. We didn't live together. I'd recently opened a lounge and grill in an old bungalow and moved into the BQ behind the bungalow because of the late hours. I worked and so I could monitor my business. Freshly divorced Iggy did the same thing by living at the converted BQ behind the duplex in Ikoyi, where his and Seni's company operated from. Seni had retained the old apartment. Every day after work, they came to my lounge grill to hang out and we had dinner and drinks together. That was where we met Jamila. One evening, she came in wearing jeans, Converse sneakers and a hijab. Then she ordered takeaway pork chops like a teen boy buying his first condom. I must have smiled as I took her order and passed it to the kitchen because she muttered, "Don't judge me." And I said, "I'm Catholic, it's Good Friday, and I've had both pork and lamb chops today." She smiled and said, "Wow, you are going to hell." And I said, "See you there." And we laughed. Turns out she worked at the ad agency down the street, had a weakness for the pork chops, and only came for the first time because the security man who usually bought them codedly for her wasn't around that day. I convinced her to join our table while she waited for her order. She ended up having dinner with us and she fitted in comfortably like we were old friends. It quickly became a thing for her to join us for dinner twice or thrice a week. There was something about Jamila, no scratch that. There were many things about Jamila. She was stunning, yes, but it was as insignificant to her as a yarn. There was a light to her, as if she could lift anyone's spirit with a listening ear and a warm smile. She was incredibly funny, got our jokes, and I can't explain how important this was. Forget sex and food. Nothing steals a man's heart faster than a beautiful woman who genuinely laughs at all his jokes. Seni was smitten, Iggy too, though he tried to play it cool. Me, not really. I just started dating my wife then. But more importantly, I understood there was no point pinning for Jamila because the religious difference was always going to be a problem. Seni knew this too, but it didn't stop him from falling for her. Did he tell her? No. Did he try to date her? No. But they got so close that I remember some of my staff assumed they were dating. Anyway, about 6 months after we met Jamila, Iggy came to me one day and said he had converted to Muslim and taken the name Iqbal. I couldn't place it, but I sensed this had something to do with Jamila and it was going to go bad. So I said, "Don't do this." But man acting all innocent asked, "Do what?" So I said, "Ignatius." Man said, "Yes." I said, "Your mother, God rest her soul, named you after Saint Ignatius of Loyola. What the fuck is an Iqbal?" You can guess the rest of the story from here, right? Yes, the newly converted brother Iqbal made his move, turned on his charm, and Jamila agreed to marry him. It's one of those things I still can't understand because she knew who he was. I mean, we were honest about his escapades when we all hung out, right? Or maybe being in her early 30s at the time, she was under pressure from her family to get married, and she had no other eligible Muslim men in her circle to vibe with. I don't know. All I know is I was asked to do another bachelor party. Man said, "Make it halal." And I said, "God punish halal." Why? Because I never believed he was truly a Muslim. Anyway, later I said to him, "Look, I'm bringing strippers, a blackjack table, a roulette wheel, and enough alcohol to host a carnival in As Isale Eku. If you like, come. If you like, don't come." Of course, brother Iqbal came. Seni didn't come though. Seni, what do you think? Nothing was the same. First, he tried to play it cool by congratulating them when their surprise engagement was announced. He even came to the wedding, and pink-eyed with pain, drank more than had ever seen him do, and for the first time in my life, I had to carry him and make sure he got home safe rather than the other way round. I spent that night with a broken man, and all he kept slurring was, I hope he treats her right. He took a leave from the company after they returned from their honeymoon. He didn't return. He called me from Abuja to say he was transferring his shares in the company to me. A few weeks after, the shares became a lot more valuable. Turns out Jamila's uncle, a devout Muslim, was a big shot at the Federal Revenue Service, and through him, the company was given a contract to process incoming tax payments to the government for a percentage. This was the life-changing contract Iggy had hoped for the company and had finally gotten. A cynic would say that was his angle for marrying Jamila. I also understood why Seni had given me his shares and walked away, and money made under that contract would have felt to him like taking a bribe to lose the love of his life. I took the money, but I've never touched it. It's it's in an investment account yielding interest. If I can't convince him to take it back one day, I'll use all of it to do something for Isaleko people. Our group, we broke up like P-Square. Seni stayed in Abuja. Me and Iggy weren't quite the same. I think the last time they saw each other before today was when they came for my wedding, but it was awkward, and the bastards didn't throw me a bachelor party. Iggy and Jamila, what do you think? The contract lasted for 5 years, till her uncle retired. Their marriage and Iggy's Islam held for a year after the end of the contract. Life has few coincidences. I still call him Iqbal sometimes though, just to fuck with him. Incredible story, right? I hope it was worth listening to. Seni and Iggy have spent all night talking. Oh, you noticed, yeah? It seems to be going according to plan. They have a lot of catching up to do. Plan? Yes. My plan, is that they will patch things up somehow, especially as Seni is moving back to Lagos. They don't have to be as close as before, but if it happens, I'll welcome it. I miss my boys. I think I started by saying there's only a few random events in life. Let me come clean with you. I hope you won't get mad. Your friend, who is also a good friend of mine, didn't just randomly drag you to this party, and I didn't just tell you all this for fun. Our plan, is for you and Seni to meet. Don't call it a blind date, just a meeting. We think you'd both be perfect for each other, but no pressure. Just meet, have a chat. Come, let me introduce you. You can kill your friend later, and if this works out the way I suspect it will, you hug and thank her instead. I like that you are smiling and seeing the funny side. What's that? If it works out, I shouldn't throw a bachelor party. You are killing my dreams, woman. But okay. Okay, we're done reading the Gigolo from Isaleko. This is crazy. This is crazy. Things are occurring. Things are happening in Nigeria. But what the hell? What the hell did I just read? Things are really happening. Okay, tomorrow we'll read The Anointed Wife because I have to get back to work. But things are really happening and it's a good read. It's really a good read. And I stand the guy telling the story. He's just the one, telling story, enjoying life, seeing what this one is doing, seeing what the other one is doing. Like the guy, he has his life together while watching his friends messing up. Yeah, because from the story we see he's already married, he has a business, and unlike Iggy, who keeps hooking up with women, getting married to richer women, for his own selfish needs, and what's his name, Seni, who is quite reserved and moved to another city because of Iggy's stupid and foolish act. I just like the person telling the story. I like how he has his life organized and also has friends with unorganized life. And this actually something I've been thinking of. I don't think you can actually, not in all cases, but sometimes I don't think you can, know a person by the kind of friends they keep, because these are three friends with three different personalities. One is totally messed up, one has his life together while flexing and enjoying life, and the other is heartbroken and reserved. This is a very good read. This is a very good read. I can't even pick my favorite from this and cock up. Like, I can't pick a favorite. The next one is The Anointed Wife. I hope I get to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the first two stories in this book. And make sure you get your books, guys. Get this book. It's worth all the read. It's worth it. Get it. All right, thank you.